Okay, good day everyone. So the chapter 2 topic is about designing a curriculum. So we all know that curriculum is a planned sequence of learning experience that should be at the heart of every teacher. So a one that is being taught from a given course or the subject refers to an interactive system of instruction and learning of specific goals. So it is a very challenging task because it is wherein the creativity of the teacher comes in. So for the lesson 3.1 here is the fundamental of curriculum design. So for the desired learning outcomes, so these are to identify the fundamentals of a curriculum designing. The next is the appreciate the task of designing a curriculum. So the first step here is we're going to talk about the building on better Oliva's 10 actions for curriculum designers. So these actions helps as guide of the curricularist. So when we say actions, these are principles that practitioners as curriculum designer can use as guidelines or a frame of references. Okay, the 10 actions about curriculum that the teachers needed as reminders are, the first one is the curriculum change is inevitable, necessary, and desirable. So earlier, it was stated that one of the characteristics of a curriculum is its being dynamic. So the change is inevitable and necessary, for it is through change that life forms, grow, and develop. The second one is curriculum is a product of time, or it is also called a timeliness. So it is a relevant curriculum should respond to changes brought about by current social forces, philosophical positions, the psychological principles, new knowledge, and educational reforms. So it is a school curriculum does not only refers or reflects but also a product of its time. Curriculum should not be timely, relevant, or significant to the current situation of a classroom. The third actions is the curriculum changes made earlier can exist concurrently with newer curriculum changes. So a revision in a curriculum starts and ends slowly. So people behind the curriculum select the best response to the emerging changes within the society. So it is where they are going to slowly start and slowly ends a curriculum. Okay, so the fourth actions is curriculum change develops depends on people who will implement the change. So teachers who will implement the curriculum should be involved in its development. Hence, should know how to design a curriculum. So just remember the phrase from Mail 1998. The change of the curriculum of the school is to change the factors interacting to shape the curriculum. So in each instance, the change or it brings a change in people, in their desires, their belief, their attitudes, and their knowledge and skills. And the fifth one is curriculum development is a cooperative group activity. So group decisions in some aspects of curriculum development are suggested. And also the consultation with stakeholders when possible will add to a sense of stewardship. So even learners should participate in the making of the curriculum, or they have an aspect in designing a curriculum, or they are part in creating the curriculum. It is significant. The change in the curriculum should involve. Okay, so the fifth actions, it is a curriculum development is a cooperative group activity. So group decisions in some aspects of curriculum development are suggested. So consultations with stakeholders, when possible, will add to a sense of ownership. So even learners should participate in some aspect of a curriculum designing. It is significant change in a curriculum should involve a broad range of stakeholders to gain their understanding, support, and input of the curriculum. So even learners included in creating a curriculum. So it is very important that when you create or design a curriculum, it should be by group or inside in one classroom with your stakeholders. The sixth one is the curriculum development process made from choices is the decision making of alternative. So it is a curriculum developer or designer must decide what contents to teach, philosophy or point of view to support, how to provide for multicultural groups, what method or strategies or what type of evaluation to use. So curriculum development is basically a decision-making process in which there are choices about among the discipline, choices about the competing, the issues, and the aspects and other. And also, it helps to, when deciding to consult your organization or stakeholders. For the seventh one, is curriculum is an ongoing process. So continuous monitoring, examination, evaluation, and improvement of curricula are to be considered in the design of curriculum. So curriculum change is a never-ending process, and I believe in that one. So it is the stakeholders should always have a room for improvement because a curriculum is not only a yearly task, but it is a daily task that a teacher should do. Okay, so the number 8 action is curriculum development is more effective if it is comprehensive process rather than a piecemeal. So a curriculum design should be based on a careful plan, should be clearly established and intended learning outcomes, support resources and needed time available, and should be equipped teaching staff pedagogically. So there is an important in looking in a whole picture. So like look at the forest and not the whole forest and not only a tree. So what does the macro curriculum is showing? So for example, in the sex education, who will be affected by it? So a good investment is needed in order to create a comprehensive change needed. And that's for number 8. Number 9, curriculum development is more effective when it follows a systematic process. So a curriculum design is composed of desired outcomes, the subject matter content complemented with references, set of procedures on how they are going to implement it, needed materials and resources, and evaluation procedure which can be placed in a matrix. So systematic curriculum development is more effective than a trial and error. The set of procedures should be made systematically by following and establish the set of procedures and the goals. Okay, the last action is number 10. Curriculum development starts from where the curriculum is. So curriculum planners and designers should begin with existing curriculum. So the curriculum planner starts from where the curriculum is. Just as the teacher starts where the students are, right? When we embrace the change, then only the success will take place. The only thing will remain the same is the word change. Okay, so the most curriculum components or elements are answered the following questions. Number 1, what are the learning outcomes needed to be achieved? Number 2, what content should be included to achieve the learning outcomes? Number 3, what learning experience and resources should be employed? And number 4, how will the achieved learning outcomes be measured? So here are the lesson plan or teaching guides includes. Number 1, intended learning outcomes or the desired learning outcomes formally based and labeled as behavioral objectives. The second one is the subject matter and content. Number 3 is teaching and learning methods. And the last one is assessment and evaluation. We are going to describe each element of a teaching guide. Number 1, the behavioral objectives, or the intended learning outcomes. So these are the reasons for undertaking the learning lesson from the student's point of view. These are expressed in action words found in the revised Bloom's taxonomy of objectives in cognitive skills. So I know that we are so familiar with Bloom's taxonomy. So affective skills from the taxonomy made by Raswell, and the psychomotor by Simpson. So when we are going to plot a curriculum map or something curriculum, it should be based on this one. The cognitive skills, affective, psychomotor, because curriculum alignment is very important in the progression of students. So as a curriculum designer, the beginner of the learning journey is the learning outcomes to be achieved. Of course, that is our goal. In this way, both learners and the teacher are guided by what to be accomplished. So we must assure that the statement should be SMART, or we'll already know what is SMART, which stands for specific, measurable, attainable, result-oriented, and time-bounded. So for a beginner, it would help you to provide condition, performance, and extent or levels of performance in the statement of the learning outcomes. Well, the second one here is the content or the subject matter. It is where the topic or the subject matter will be covered, or it is what is the content of your curriculum. And the next one here, also I have here principles of a subject matter. So a subject matter should be relevant to the outcomes of the curriculum. The subject matter should be appropriate to the level of lesson or unit. The next one is subject matter should be up to date. Of course, it should be updated. The number 4 is the subject matter should follow the principle of basics. So an effective curriculum is purposive and clearly found on the planned learning outcomes. The last one here is the references. So these references follows the content. So it is where your sources or your content came from, or asan imong gikuha ang imong content. So you should cite the references to avoid plagiarism. So it tells where the content subject matter has been taken, asan imo siya gikuha. So an example of this is Roma Salvador B 2013 Horticulture, an exploratory course from Lorimar Publishing Incorporated, Quezon City. So you should state the name of the author, the publishing, the date, kung kanus ato siya na-publish nga documents. And that will be all. My report will be to be continued by Catherine Avenido.